The next one over is the toggle effects. So if I click on this layer, I'm going to unlock it real quick and go up here to the effects and controls. You can see that I have a ramp on the background. If I toggle the effects off, now you can't see the ramp anymore. So that's how you toggle between your effects. This next one here is the frame blending button, and you have to have enable frame blending on it. And the way to do that is you have extra actually you have adjacent footage frames, and when you have that box ticked, it'll add extra frames by blending them together. It's kind of hard to explain just without showing you, so I'll have to show you in a later tutorial because it's a little more in depth. So I'm going to undo this box. This is the enable frame blending, and then once that you turn that on, you'll be able to turn these on certain layers. Obviously none of these layers are affected by it because we don't have frame blending yet. The next one over where these three circles are is the enable motion blur column, and there is an enable motion blur button right here, and if you are animating the position of something and it's moving around, you can enable motion blur to give it more of a realistic look. So if you know how sometimes some things run by really fast and they just look like a blur or something like that, so you can add a little bit of blur to it by enabling the motion blur there. The next one over is the adjustment layer. So if you toggle this switch, an adjustment layer will affect all of the layers below it. So if you add an effect to this, so what can I add? I'll add like a blur because those are quick, and let's go fast. I'll move this up so we can see, and it's gonna affect everything. So if I move it down below the picture and the chainsaw, only the squish and the tuna are going to be blurred. So that's how an adjustment layer works. And if you turn it off, it basically turns off the whole layer. You use these adjustment layers that are up here to create that effect. I don't want to untoggle it because then it just messes up. This is what I want to do, is just delete this off there. The next box over is the toggle 3D layer box, and that pretty much allows you to move your layer or rotate your layer in 3D space. So if let's go to the squish and I'll toggle it, and if I hit position, now if you see the arrows up here, there's a Y and X, and this blue one that's sticking towards us is Z, and now we can move it on the Z axis. You can see that down there, and also with if I do rotation, now you have new options. And new to CS6, you can extrude layers now and make them 3D. So when you have this checkbox ticked and have the layer a 3D layer, you can extrude your layers, which is actually really awesome since you don't have to use a 3D program for that kind of stuff anymore. It saves a lot of time and hassle actually. This little swirl thing here, that's called the pick whip, and you can use that to parent. So if I parent the chainsaw to the tuna here, if I move the tuna, chainsaw is going to move with it, and that's how parenting works. You can also do the same exact thing with this drop down menu, and so I'm gonna use the drop down menu to parent the chainsaw to the squish this time, and you can see that it works. So the next thing I want to go over is to come down here, down to this button at the bottom it says toggle switches / modes. Now if I toggle that, it gives us a new set of options. Let me close these so it's not distracting. So the new options are here to the right and nothing to the left of the layer name changed. So this is the blending mode. So there's a whole huge drop down menu and you can use these to blend over backgrounds and things like that. So you can see this blending mode was overlay and it changed how the chainsaw blended in with the background. So I'll go to normal. This section is the track mat, and I'll have to explain these ones to you later because they're a little more in depth and a little harder to use and not very easy to explain. So that's it for the menus here and the checkboxes. I always usually have it set to this first, this one, and just real quick I'll go over these buttons again. I'll just say the names. This is the composition mini flowchart. This button is the live update, draft 3D, shy layers, enable frame blending, enable motion blur, brainstorm, auto keyframe, and graph editor. So I'll be going over these in a later tutorial. I already went over the auto keyframe and the graph editor, so you guys know what those are from earlier tutorials. So you can check those out if you're just starting on this tutorial. It's in an earlier, like probably about 5 back or something like that. That was just a number I just randomly guessed, so it's probably not even close to that. So let's end the tutorial here. Hopefully it was pretty decent, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next tutorial.